evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, the largest single-screen drive-in in the United States. We're certainly glad you could be with us this evening, and don't forget the concession stand is open with all kinds of great things to eat and drink.
.3 Mahoning Drive-In Radio, your old pal Virgil, welcoming you back once again for another exciting episode of the podcast. As you guys know, the only podcast dedicated to the love and revival of our beloved drive-in culture. Joined as always by my co-host and general manager extraordinaire, Mark. Say hello, my friend.
Hello.
It is. I kind of sing that now, you know, it's become just very embedded in my brain, this opening, you know. Actually, the other night, I was telling everybody as the sign-off, good night, and I started it with 89.3 unconsciously.
You just can't help it.
But we're really excited. I'm coming to you live from the concession lobby, so you may hear the pinball machines in the background occasionally.
Or will we hear bad dudes going?
Yes, possibly.
The last time we recorded a podcast, Virgil had to stop before we started recording. He's like, I gotta go pop a quarter in bad dudes and shut those guys up.
Only at the Mahoning, baby. We live the life. We really do. But we're really excited for today because it's a calendar episode as we review all madness that we have in store for you in June. And as you guys know, we love to bring a guest host in for our calendar review episodes. And today is no different as we welcome the beloved, the Lot King, Mr. Dave Wirt. Welcome, my friend.
Okie dokie, folks. Glad to be here. Thanks.
Okie dokie, Smokey. Let's get this party on the road. Yes, it's true. We love Dave. He is a absolute staple. And as you guys know, maybe you don't know, Dave's also responsible for the incredible slideshow and pre-show that you guys get and have become such a staple of the visits to the Mahoning. So hats off, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
We're just going to jump right into this thing and jump in a sunshiny way with, that's right, Darren Aronofsky's A Requiem for a Dream on 35 millimeter. Guys, I know what you're thinking. We're going dark. We're going real dark. Bleak, as some would say, but this is a movie that really begs to be seen if you haven't seen it before. It is a movie that is hard to revisit just because of the nature of it. But this is one that has always been on my booking list since the day I started here. It's one of my all-time favorites. It is a visually stunning film, but I think what I really love about it is the incredible performances in this movie. Where do you guys fall with Requiem for a Dream? I know it's dark.
I've never seen it. I always heard it was just really grim, and it always sounded like a kind of place I didn't want to go to. So I have nothing to say.
It's the greatest anti-drug ad like ever produced, I think, because after you watch this movie, you're like, I'm never touching drugs.
Yeah, it's if you're looking for a movie with a happy ending, this literally has happy endings for nobody. I don't think there's I mean, no spoilers, but yeah, you may need a hug after this one. So just be aware. But you're right. It's a brilliant anti-drug PSA. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I think really does show off Aronofsky's style. You know, it really is this wonderkin that came out of nowhere. When I was running the video store, this movie was like the movie. You know, everybody was like, oh, you got to see this. You got to see Train Spotting. You got to see Spun. You got to see these kind of, off the beaten path drug movies. And this is one that is unlike any other movie you will see and will live with you forever. So people are really excited about this screening. They love whenever we can swing for the fences. And this was certainly a big swing. So come on out and enjoy, I guess is the Requiem for a Dream. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. We do shift gears, though, on the 5th and 6th of June, as we like to do. We'll go from Requiem for a Dream to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan event featuring Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. One of those fandoms that is undying, grows bigger by the day. There has not been a world where the Ninja Turtles have not been a focus feature in it. For me and for a lot of people, and now that I have an 8-year-old munchkin, I see the power of the turtles, even, 40 plus years later in my life. Were you guys turtle heads as a kid? Or was this after your fandom?
I think I was a little too old for it. Like, I think the comics were out, and I think there were friends of mine who might have been into those. But by the time the cartoon and the toys and all that stuff and the movies came around, I was on to older things. And it was really cool. We did this show a couple years ago, and it was huge. You really saw the fandom and the generations of the fandom. And turtle artist Chris Allen, who drew the comic in the '90s, who will be with us at this show, was doing sketches and things for people. And he was not prepared for how long his line was going to be, nonstop all night. And Big Kid was there and brought toys, all kinds of turtle toys. We'll have that again, and it's going to be quite the show.
Dave, what about you? Turtles, turtle power, cowabungas?
It came out a little late for me to get it as like a youth fandom.
Yeah.
I will say it came out when I was in college, but I actually really enjoyed the comics. I've always been a big comics guy, so the Turtles comics were really cool. I mean, the originals were black and white, very dark and edgy kind of, and I really dug those. So when the original movie came out, I saw it in the theaters, and I was like, this is great. They really nailed it. They got kind of the tone to it. The costumes were amazing for the time, and so I totally dug it. So I'm a fan. I really enjoy the first one. Listen, the second one has Vanilla Ice in it. How can
Come
you
on.
go? I mean, dude,
What else could you ask for? A nice
on.
cherry on top.
Exactly.
That first movie is incredibly dark. And when I saw it as a kid, it actually scared the hell out of me because, it's one of those movies that doesn't beat around the bush. It caught some flack for being violent. So the second movie is a much brighter and lighter film. They actually don't use their weapons throughout most of the movie. They're, beating each other up or beating up bad guys with cold cuts and, toys and stuff like that. So, Rob, are you a turtle head? Rob just walked in.
Really like the first movie.
So do I. It stands up and is one of those movies that is like a standalone fantastic film, let alone the fact that there's 4, gigantic Muppet turtles running around.
I'm pulling up and cracking a brew. Want a sneak peek at trailers for Patreon?
Yeah.
We're not going to tell the people out there listening in podcast land what they are, but you can react to the titles.
Oh, come on. Guys, if you're not a Patreon member, what are you doing? You're missing out on the fun. A little guest appearance by Rob there.
And if you look at it, if you think about it, the success of the Turtles and the success of Nightmare on Elm Street are really the two films that created New Line Cinema. Like they were a distribution company before they really put out these two monster blockbusters, and it established that company.
Yeah, and one of those franchises that has paid forward and paid dividends over and over and over again. I was a total product of the toy line, and this is, like many of the fan events that we do, one of those properties that spans across every type of media and medium that you could think of. Books, comics, TV shows. It's like, where did you fall in love with the Turtles? Because it's impossible not to have it cross your radar. But we should mention it is the toy show hosted by the Big Kids. They will be back in action. We will have our signature scavenger hunt thanks to the Big Kids. And it's a vendor market. So it's a toy show. We will have, I believe, a good dozen toy vendors. So yeah, that's a huge part of the turtle fandom and the lore of this show, and a perfect one for us to land on. If you guys are listening to this, I know you're thinking it right now. You know what they should do for the toy show next year? Drop me a line. Shifting gears, on the 7th, it is a digital screening, but we are so excited to show Robert Rodriguez's directed Frank Miller's Sin City. I love this movie so much. Like, I'll never forget seeing it in the cinema with all of my friends. We were so excited. This was like the pinnacle of our love for indie cinema, and Robert and Quentin and all those guys were kings of that indie movement. So they did no wrong in our eyes, and we saw every movie that they put out on opening night. This theater was freaking electric. And up until that point, I had not seen a movie that looked like this. So to be able to experience that with my friends was something that really stuck with me, because 9 times out of 10, you go to the cinema and, it's a regurgitation of styles or something like that, where this was just so on the money to the comics. And I know you guys must have this connection and love for Sin City, because this movie is what got me into the comics. So
I had borrowed the comic from a friend in college, and I'd never seen anything like the comic before. The insane, like those huge, like wide shots, if you will, with the incredible amount of detail, all just black ink on white backing. And the movie really captures that look. The movie has a really unique look and feel to it. And I saw it when it came out, and I thought it was really cool. Saw the second one, liked the second one too. And it's just a really unique, noiry, violent, dark world with a really crazy cast in the film too.
yeah.
Yes, Sin City is my jam. Like, this is legitimately one of my favorite movies. This is one of the ones I'm looking forward to in June. I love this film. I was a huge fan of these comics. Like, the way they were released was in like prestige kind of these were great. I loved them, the style of them, and this movie perfectly captures it. It helps that Rodriguez was co-directing with Frank Miller, which caused a little bit of grief with the Directors Guild, but Frank was there the entire time. So, he was seeing that style and seeing the translation of that style. The actors in it are, I mean,
It's
incredible.
stacked. Wow. Yeah. Never ending with that cast, It's like one huge star after another. And Quentin also came in as a guest director on that film, right?
He did a segment, yeah.
The Benicio segment, yes.
Yeah, a bit of a segment. There's
Yeah.
like this one. It's so. I mean, Mickey Rourke is like almost unidentifiable in that makeup. It's incredible what they
Yeah.
did with that. I
Maybe one
love
of the
it.
greatest translations. And it's kind of like comic book weekend with Turtles, and bookended at the end with Sin City.
Did you ever see? Now, there's a version of it that's like the Sin City recut version, where they kind of repiece it together in like a different order, almost like a chronological order, adding new material to it.
Yes,
It's
I've seen it. I This is a comfort, like you said, Dave. This is a comfort movie. One of those movies that I go back to pretty regularly and pull off of the shelf, because it's just kind of a vibe. It's got this kind of noir, pulpy, just badass kind of vibe to it. And this is Mickey. I'm a huge Mickey Rourke fan. This is Mickey's resurgence, coming back and like crushing it.
I mean, you got Rutger Hauer in there. Now, here's the challenge for the eagle-eyed viewer. Can you actually spot Nick Offerman in this film? Because he's in it.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So come on out, enjoy that. I should mention the gates do open at 5 o'clock for a comic and punk rock market. I guarantee you there's going to be some gold on the lot for that event. Moving forward, the Thursday Thread Up film series chugs along on June 11th with a very special screening of Midnight Run on 35 millimeter. As the booker here, I say this all the time, it's a very special relationship with the audience. And there are times throughout the calendar where I like to just sneak some stuff in there, kind of knowing it's not going to blow the roof off, but that it's so essential to build out the calendar. And I can't express how much I love this movie. The performances in this movie, it's hard to say because it's De Niro and he's in so many amazing movies, but easily one of my favorite De Niro movies. Maybe one of the greatest buddy road movies. Where do you guys fall with Midnight Run? Because I had people reach out and say, I've never even heard of this movie, which blew my
Really?
mind. Yeah.
Wow. This was one that it played in theaters. I think it did okay, but it was really one that grew on home video and cable, which is where I saw it. And it's just a fun, foul-mouthed action road movie with a really great cast. And it's funny to hear people say they've never heard of it because people who have heard of it, I've never heard anybody say they didn't like Midnight Run. It's always one that people bring up as being one of their favorites or being a great movie or being how funny and foul-mouthed De Niro is in it and how funny and annoying Charles Grodin is in it. And you've got Yaphet Kotto. It's a super fun film. You know, if we're doing our job correctly, we're presenting these kind of movies that people haven't seen, and hopefully they come out and take a chance on it. And this will be a new favorite for them because this is a great flick that should not be a movie nobody's heard of.
Question for you guys, though. So did this film kind of start, or at least really the first exposure of like De Niro showing like some comedic chops? Because this was before all of the Meet the Fockers films and all of those. So this was like he was mostly a movie tough guy, kind of, gangster before this, right?
He was comedic in King of Comedy. He was sort of comedic in the two, and I say this because I just watched one of them, the two really early De Palma films, Greetings and Hi Mom. But for the most part, his persona was never as a comedic guy. I think his persona was so much of the tough guy and the dramatic actor that people forgot about the comedic films he did. But I think this is probably the one that really people really realized, oh yeah, this guy can do comedy. And he started at some point, the pendulum swung, and he really started being in more comedic movies than serious movies.
I saw this movie when I was studying acting and I was really getting into screenwriting. And I looked at this movie so many times. I look at it as a perfect screenplay by the great George Gallo. And talk about range. Like, everybody does think of De Niro as, everybody will do that same impression. This is a movie that just takes his persona and blows it out the water, which I love, So come on out. That's going to be a great night at the movies on June 11th. And then we shift gears. This is going to be a fun one to talk about. We welcome Vinegar Syndrome for an official partnership on the 12th with a screening of Wonder Woman and Cutthroats 9. Cue the trailer.
As Dave said earlier, Dave, have you seen Cutthroats 9?
Well, my concern was I haven't seen Cutthroats 1 through 8, so I'm kind of concerned that I'm kind of coming into kind of the end of a whole series here. So there's got to be established characters and story arcs that I'm gonna be entirely unaware of.
When the movie The Madness of King George was released in America, originally it was called The Madness of George III. George 3 on the poster. The U.S. distributor said, we have to change the title because Americans will think they missed the first 2 movies in the series. There's an entire, if you're a Patreon member, and if you're not, you should be. If you're a Patreon member, you are going to get a Patreon exclusive podcast where we talk all about how this Vinegar Syndrome show came to be.
Oh, boy.
For the benefit of those of you, most of which unfolded in the last 24 hours as we record this, for the benefit of you that are just listening to this episode to hear what's playing, if you don't know what Vinegar Syndrome is, it's 2 things. It is the name for what happens to film when it decomposes and breaks down, gives off a really bad vinegary odor and becomes sticky or becomes rigid or doesn't really run through a projector anymore. But it's also the name of an amazing company, boutique video label restoration company based in Connecticut, Vinegar Syndrome, who's been around for a good long while now, at least 10 years. And they have released all manner of disreputable cinema on video and Blu-rays and 4Ks and DVDs and all that. And they also do film preservation. And we have worked with various members of Vinegar Syndrome over the years. as vendors at VHS Fest. Dino's a good friend who works for Vinegar Syndrome. And we said, why don't we do a show with Vinegar Syndrome like we did with AGFA and with Severin, where we show some films from your library that you have released to show off, what Vinegar Syndrome has put out on video, but on film on the big screen, prints from their vault. And then we'll have Vinegar Syndrome come out and vend like Severin did, which was a really fun night. So what we have here are two films. We have Wonder Woman from 1972, which is a really goofy sort of pulp adventure film. It almost feels like a 30s pulp adventure novel, but done in the early 70s with Ross Hagen and Nancy Kwan and an all-girl army ruled over by a female mad scientist on an island somewhere in the Philippines. It's a lot of fun. And it's PG. It's a 70s PG. 70s PG might have smoking and fighting and cussing and shooting and nudity, but it wasn't an R. And then we follow that with Cutthroats 9, which is very not PG. It is a European Western. It's basically a gore Western. It's an insanely grim Western set in the snowy climes where all these evil, terrible criminals are on a chain gang, and a father and his daughter have to try to bring them to the fort or to justice or something like that. It's pretty extreme. So this is going to be a night of these two wild and wacky movies with Vinegar Syndrome on-site vending. And if you don't know Vinegar Syndrome, you can go very poor. If you are like Dave and I and you have the similar taste in films, they have so many good things out. Everything from classic adult cinema to horror to exploitation to even more modern things. Like I think they just put out Roadhouse on 4K. So they really expanded what they do. They have an amazing series of stores around the country called The Archive that sell all kinds of physical media and stuff. They're really a cool company. They've been friends for a long time, and we figured it was about time we do a show.
If you know the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, you know we love physical media, and partnering with these giants in the world of physical media is truly a dream come true. Partnerships are everything for us as we move into the future. And to be able to work with these guys and their archives is simply magic. So come on out for a crazy double bubble. And like we like to do, shifting gears, we go from Cutthroats 9 to Alice in Wonderland and Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood on 35 millimeter for our Waltz Vault celebration. This event is always a fantastic time, brings out the families in a huge way. Animation always looks fantastic on the Mahoning Drive-In screen, especially with the bulb upgrade. So we highly recommend you guys come out and celebrate your fandom. Last couple of years, it felt like all princesses. So we shifted a little bit to bring really some of my absolute favorite Disney movies. It's funny, when I booked Disney's Robin Hood as the co-feature of the night, my lady, Nancy, reached out and said, you do realize that Robin Hood was my first crush. And I think this is kind of a through line with a lot of the ladies who fell in love with this movie also fell in love with this fox, Robin Hood Fox. So come on out, relive your childhood on the 12th of June. Where do you guys fall with these ones? I like that we went off the beaten path.
I'm a huge Robin Hood fan. That one was, when I was a kid, that was my favorite.
Number one, greatest music, all of it.
Great music. And listen, I was a boy, so this had bows and arrows and,
yes,
and people shooting. I mean, that was like, I want princesses. I want both, So I've always been a big Robin Hood guy. I love Robin Hood. I mean, the Errol Flynn has always been a favorite of mine, but this was great. I loved it.
Yeah, can't wait for it.
I'm pretty sure I saw Alice in Wonderland in the theater as a kid because that was before home video took over and before Disney really shifted their model to really focus on video, and they would just reissue their movies every few years. So I was able to see like pretty much all the Disney classics in my local theater as a kid. And Alice in Wonderland is just this insane psychedelic journey. It's going to look amazing on the big screen, really colorful, really imaginative. And Robin Hood is one that I'm pretty sure I saw in the theater. I used to have an older cousin who was into collecting bubblegum cards, and I was as a youth as well. And he was older, so he would give me older stuff that I couldn't buy new. And he gave me like this big sticker for Robin Hood that I slapped on the head of my bed that was there for decades probably.
Awesome.
And Robin Hood is really cool and fun. And I love Roger Miller. singer of King of the
yeah.
Road and Can't Roller Skate in a Buffalo Herd and all that kind of stuff. So Roger Miller is a voice and a singing voice in this film. So to me, that's an added level of entertainment. I think it's going to be a really fun night with two movies that don't get a lot of play. And I believe Alice in Wonderland is like it's a big anniversary this year. It's like is it 75th anniversary, perhaps?
Wow. Yeah.
1951.
We certainly are going to have a fantastic time with these titles. Anytime that we can bring out multiple generations and there's this opportunity to pass the drive-in on to the youth, the next generation, we talk about it all the time that we're very much relying upon kiddos falling in love with the drive-in like we did, and doing shows like this almost guarantees they're going to be making memories here. So on the 14th of June, Sunday the 14th, our Indie Darlings film series rolls on with our very first presentation of a Spike Lee joint, Do the Right Thing on 35 mil. Very excited for this one. This was a movie that I actually studied back and forth. I took a class in college called The Literary Vision of Film. And this was one of the first films that we watched and broke down and analyzed and read into. And it's always been one of those movies that I looked at as a real jewel of the American indie movement. Even though this was a studio movie, certainly Spike at this point just stood for indie glory. So to be able to show Do the Right Thing on the massive Mahoning screen is going to be fantastic. Where do you guys fall with Do the Right Thing or Spike?
I remember this film was really popular. Spike Lee had made a movie, She's Gotta Have It, before this, which was an indie hit, but didn't get huge wide play. But this was his first major studio movie, and it played everywhere, and it was very controversial because of the topic of racial tension that runs throughout it. And it was really big. And I remember it sort of got snubbed at the Oscars that year. And I remember watching that. It was the year of Batman. So Kim Basinger was on stage presenting an award, and she actually went off script and basically chastised the Academy for not nominating Do the Right Thing for Best Picture, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
I saw it, rented it on tape. So like when it first hit tape, I went to my local video store and rented it, and I thought it was really good. Great cast. I mean, across the board, a great cast, with a lot of people that you would see again later in other things. Some rose to above the level of bit players, some sort of stayed in that arena, and some became like really big stars. It's wild to watch again now, because at the time there were just these people in the movie. You recognized a few of them, but not many. And now you look back and it's just like just about every face in the movie is really well known.
Yep.
I think it's a good film. I remember seeing it when it came out. Listen, it was incendiary and topical when it came out, but quite frankly, it hasn't lost any of its power. It's still incendiary and topical. I think, the issues it was addressing then are still as prevalent and important today. And so that's what really, I think, defines a movie, whether, it can bear the test of time, and whether the message it was sending then is still relevant and resonates today, and it does.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's a good film. I think it's an important film, and I think that's one of the things that we do. We don't just, show the low ball. We swing for the fences with Requiem for a Dream and Do the Right Thing. We're showing movies that are tough, but I think important. So I think that's one of the great things that we do.
Absolutely. And we've talked about it so many times that in our lives, it's been movies that really started the conversations for us. And those conversations are really what shapes us as people. And we feel really lucky to have this stage to be able to present these movies that hopefully do start those conversations. It's one of the perks of being able to do what we do here. And working on these calendars, it really is this chessboard. I say it all the time to Mark in the off season. Well, if this doesn't work, we'll just move this chess piece over here, this over there. But I think this June calendar came together really well with a wide array for everybody. And that's certainly the case as we push into the 18th of June, the Thursday ThreadUp celebration of Jeff's birthday. If you guys are regulars or have followed the Mahoning for some time, we lost our late great leader, Jeff, and master projectionist about 2 years ago. And his birthday happened to fall on a Thursday this year. And we thought it was the perfect opportunity to jump back into the vault and play one of Jeff's favorites. One of my favorite memories on the lot. Mark, I don't know if you were here this night, but we were playing Jeff's personal print of Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, which we will be playing on the 18th. And we laughed so hard. And when Jeff gets going with that laugh, it's infectious, you know? So to be able to play this one, it's totally goofball, off the beaten path of what the Mahoning traditionally does. But I can't think of a better way to celebrate Jeff's birthday. He would love the fact that we're going super lighthearted with this programming. So, you guys excited to revisit Austin Powers? That took over the world, man.
Well, the thing about Austin Powers was it wasn't really a hit when it came out. And it was a really sharp, a really knowing spoof of 60s spy movies. And it took off on video. And then they made sequels that were just dumb and gross and not sharp at all. I thought I really didn't like the sequels, and I loved that original movie. I've got the soundtrack. I've got all kinds of
So
memorabilia
strong
from it because it's so like if you're into Bond movies and Flint movies and things like that, it really knows the source material it's drawing from. And unfortunately, the sequels just relied on repeating the same jokes over and over and making them dumber and grosser for kids. But I will always stand by the first movie, and I try to say it's like other film series franchises have done this too, where you forget how good the original was because they just kind of ran out of gas along the way. The original Austin Powers is really funny.
Yeah. Like laugh per minute. It's really never ending. And beyond Jeff loving this movie, this played a lot in my house. My mom loved this movie. She also cackled throughout the entire film. One of the most awkward memories I have with my family, we go on vacation every year to the mountains, and we went and saw Goldmember as a big group, all the cousins and uncles, and boy, there's a lot of shit in that movie. So yeah, I agree. It kind of took a right turn, but that first one is just standalone gold.
I love comedies, and I wish we did a lot more just of these just goofy comedies, because I saw this when it came out in the theaters. Much like Mark, I got the references and the sly asides, and obviously Mike Myers was a huge fan of those, so he got them too, and he was able to really nail the references. But it's so funny that like Dr. Evil has become such a cultural thing that you forget the impact and how hard you laughed the first time you saw him. You know what I mean? Like the sequels drove him into self-parody, but the first time he played that role, you just were like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
You couldn't deny it. In the hallway, like in the hallways, everybody was, yeah, baby. And,
or
it was just
$1 million,
oh, God, endless.
So, yeah, I can revisit that one over and over again. So, just the dance sequence to "I Touch Myself" is
worth the price of admission.
We were joking out at the gate the other night because we were asking somebody something, and we literally asked them 3 times. And I'm like, so that's what it takes, huh? I was like the Will Ferrell bit where, I'm sorry, you have to ask me a question 3 times thing. And I'm just like, there's so many jokes and references you still get on that thing.
Oh, so good. Can't wait for that one. I should mention we are doing a best dressed contest that night. So I really hope somebody shows up as Austin Powers, shirtless Austin with the big tuft of chest hair.
Merkin?
Merkin, yes. Pushing on to the 19th of June, Friday. Did you guys know that Bert wants you? Because he really does for this double feature from Mark's Cinematic Dreams. Smokey and the Bandit with the co-feature Hooper. Break it down for him, Mark.
Okay. If you know me, you know I am an aficionado of Burt Reynolds. I saw Smokey and the Bandit in the best place to see it, which is how you're going to see it with us, at a drive-in. I saw it when it came out at a drive-in. Thought it was the coolest movie, the funniest movie, and I'd never get sick of it. You know, we ran it once before in our retro run when Joe Bob was out, paired with his How Redneck Saved Hollywood show. But we haven't run it since then. And we did it at the Somerville Theater on the road show this year. We paired it with The Car, which were two Universal movies that came out about 2 weeks apart back in '77. And it played really well.
Crushed.
And as much as we say, oh yeah, that place was totally into it. And one of my favorite screenings of the movie had been at the Somerville years earlier. And they did serve Coors, which I don't think we can get away with. But, you know, whatever's in your car is in your car. If you've just been flying up from Texarkana in a hot Trans Am, you know, who are we to check the trunk? It's a great movie. It's a funny movie. It's a car movie. We are going to have a screen accurate Trans Am there for photo ops. When we did a RetroCon last year, we had a table at RetroCon, and it's the pipe and drape, you know, that separates and creates the aisles and everything. And I peeked between the curtains to see what was on the other side of our drape, and it was the Trans Am, and my knees got a little weak. I'm like, I'm gonna go lick it. So Smokey is great. It's a drive-in classic. It is as cool and as funny as you remember it being. And we pairing that with Hooper, which was the movie he made the next year with director Hal Needham, which is an ode to the Hollywood stuntman and is filled with stunts. It's Burt Reynolds, it's Sally Field, it's James Best, who's hilarious, it's Jan Michael Vincent, it's Brian Keith, and it's a super fun movie about a stuntman who's approaching, maybe he's not past his prime, but he can see his prime on the horizon. And how does he do that? He deal with that. It's got a great barroom brawl with Terry Bradshaw. It's got a great driving a pickup truck the wrong way down a highway. I mean, I could go on and on. But Hooper is great. Not everybody knows it, but part of our mission at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater in Lehighton, Pennsylvania, is to introduce you to cool stuff you should know about. Some people might say, why aren't you showing Smokey 2? The answer, Smokey 2 sucks. So we're showing Hooper. And it's going to be with a raffle. It's going to be really cool. We're working with some people to get some really cool raffle prizes. It's going to be a fun DJ set. I hear tell there will be probably more than one Trans Am on the lot, shall we say?
Come on.
Yeah, different era. So it'll be cool. And it's a Trans Am that has done something very, very similar to what you see in the movie. Let's just put it that way. There is what they do in the movie, which is driving as fast as they can from Atlanta to Texarkana and back again. People do that now for fun. And we might have somebody with us who did that really, really recently.
You know, Mark, you jumped right to Cutthroats 9. You could have gone to Smokey 3.
Well, okay. The deal with Smokey 3, it was originally filmed with Jackie Gleason playing Buford T. Justice and the Bandit. It was called Smokey is the Bandit, which is a stupid idea. And they shot it and they tested it with audiences, and the audience said, this is a stupid idea. So they cut out all the Jackie Gleason stuff and they reshot it with Jerry Reed. They remade half the movie. And I was able to find a copy of the script for the original shooting of Smokey 3, and it reads just as terrible as you think it played. Such a bad idea. And I've got the DVD version I have of these movies. They called it the Pursuit Pack, and it was Smokey, Smokey 2, Smokey 3. And Smokey 2, no matter how many times I watch it, just isn't good. And Smokey 3 actually fares a bit better. But the concept of Smokey the Bandit so belongs to the 70s that just a couple years into the 80s, it really doesn't work. And even with Jerry Reed, even with Jackie Gleason being funny the whole time, Smokey and the Bandit's the good one. Let me just put it that way.
You know, we could create like sequels that were really bad ideas night. We could do that one. We could do Caddyshack 2. I'm sure I could toss a couple more into that.
Oh, that laundry list is long. Baby.
I feel like that's better suited to an indoor theater that serves alcohol. That's what we would call a very light night for the staff if we did.
Yeah, pay to get out.
Yeah, we dare you triple feature.
Yes. As you know, we like to have our cake and eat it too here at the Mahoning. And whenever we can do 4 different events throughout a weekend, that's really us having that cake and eating it too. How about a celebration of the Scream franchise on the 20th of June with our Scream Until Dawn, Scream 1, 2, and 3 triple feature fan event. Boy, is this an undying fandom. This was really perfectly timed. I reached out to try to book this right as the new film was prepping to come out. saying like, hey, can we play this late in the year? And it was like, nope, this movie's going to be hot throughout the whole summer. So it's going to be in memoriam until we deem fit, you know? And sure enough, that movie fizzled out really fast. And I sent them a request, and boom, just like that. I think we were the first ones to be able to get it as it lifted its memoriam. And to be able to see Scream 1, 2, and 3 under the stars with rabid Scream fans is going to be a real treat. So come on out. We will have a ghost face. Where do you guys fall with the Scream franchise? This really reinvigorated the slasher franchises.
Well, I'm curious, did they send you an apology letter when they told you that the latest Scream was going to be hot throughout
hot, hot, hot.
This one is exciting. Listen, my daughter is this is the one that may draw her and her friends down from New York to the drive-in. So
yeah, this one really is wide-reaching. I think it's one that, because it's such a ongoing franchise, the next generation has fallen in love with it, and they can't escape that Scream is a cultural phenomenon. So to be able to go back to the well, if you will, to where it all began and run 1, 2, and 3 is really exciting.
I saw them all in the theater.
All of them?
I guess I never saw Scream 4 in the theater because I don't know that really played much of anywhere. But I saw these as they came out, and Scream was like a punch in the head because horror movies had really kind of fizzled out and not worked, not really been that great for a long time. And it took all of the cliches and flipped them on their head and pointed at them and laughed and turned it into this fun, funny, intense experience. And then Scream 2 kind of built on that. And I always loved how each of these sort of pokes fun at the genre and analyzes the isms of the genre. Like, Scream 2 kind of makes fun of sequels, and by Scream 3, there's a film being made about the incidents in one of the previous films, and they make fun of film adaptations. I even liked Scream 4 at the time, where they sort of made fun of reboots and things like that. They all, up to a point, they have a pretty good thing to say and analyze. Skewer and Wes Craven was behind them up to a point as far as the directing goes. Looking at all of the Scream films, I think we're playing all the Scream films anybody really needs to see. Because having watched the last couple, I'm like, there's really only a couple of really good ones. And I
believe these are the only ones available on film. Because at one point we did try to request a 2-day marathon, and we were pretty much shot down across the board. So
I think you're right. Like, I don't remember Scream 4 playing in theaters, and I don't even remember when that came out. But by that time, it might have been past the prime of 35.
I am so excited that we can bring it back. This is a bit of a redemption for us. The last time that we screened this, we were in bad shape with the projection. And boy, did the movie not look great. And we're going to bring it back, and we're going to shine the brightest light we've ever shined. Which I guess that's a good segue and little break here. For those who do not know, we did upgrade our projection heads in the off season this year, which was a humongous undertaking, but it also allowed, it's a water cooled system. It allowed us to finally upgrade the bulbs, which we hit a ceiling on what the E7 system could take. And now we've upped it to a place that we feel really, really happy about. And being that we are now this beacon of 35 millimeter and a show place where people travel across the country to celebrate 35 millimeter, we want to do everything that we can to put the best presentation out there. And that's certainly what people are getting now. And I'll tell you what, knowing that we were going to be upgrading these bulbs, I certainly made some choices with the calendar. And nothing is going to be more glorious on the massive Mahoning screen than John Wayne and the Searchers on Father's Day for the 21st of June. Where do you guys fall with the Searchers? This is a movie that just lived, in my grandparents' house. My grandfather was, I feel like everybody's grandfather is the biggest John Wayne fan, but boy, was it in his soul.
I'm a huge advocate for Westerns. I will always say yes, please, anytime you want to show a Western on the Mahoning screen. I love a good Western because there's nothing that really showcases the size and the scope and the depth that you would get on that screen, like a really good Western. It's just the way they were filmed, the the whole landscape of a Western, the desert and all that. I can't wait. I think it's going to be great to see that, and hopefully I can use this to talk you into even more Westerns in the future.
Yes. Yes. Mark, how about you? Were you lucky enough to ever see this in the theater?
I'm trying to remember.
I imagine it plays in revival houses. It's off the beaten path for us for sure, but
It does. If a theater is going to play a retro Western that isn't a Sergio Leone film, it's usually The Searchers. I don't think I've seen it on the big screen. If I did, it was a very long time ago. But I have seen it. And it is one of the classic. It's one of the classic westerns. It's one of the classic Hollywood movies of the golden era, and shot, in out there in Monument Valley, those amazing mesas and plateaus and vistas, and a really strong cast. You've got John Wayne, you've got Vera Miles, you've got Natalie Wood as the girl who gets kidnapped that they all go off and search for. Kidnapped by the term at the time was Indians. Now it's Native Americans. She was kidnapped by a tribe, and this posse basically is formed to go out and try to get her back. And I believe the movie takes place over the course of like years. It's like a long journey to get her. And it is one of the most acclaimed Westerns, and we're very lucky to have with us author Christopher McKittrick, who wrote a book about Vera Miles, the Hitchcock blonde who got away. He will be joining us for a separate episode of the podcast to talk all about Vera Miles and The Searchers and some other things. And he will be there selling and signing his book, and also doing an introduction for the film. He was given the highest recommendation to us by Lee and the gang at the Everett Theater in Middletown, Delaware, where we do our roadshow every year. They had him out for a screening of The Searchers and a book signing, and they were like, you got to get this guy. He's fabulous. So it's going to be a cool night to see a gorgeous image on that big screen. And if you want to see more Westerns, the only way to ensure that is to come out and see this Western.
that's a fact.
When you talk about like the Mount Rushmore of Western directors, John Ford is on there. I mean, and this is one of his great achievements, one of his epics. So it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah. And again, with the new projection system, to be able to see this in this original VistaVision. Am I right, Mark?
I don't know.
Oh, well,
I feel like it would have been a VistaVision film, but again, I'm not as familiar with this as I am some of the other spaghetti Westerns.
Moving on. Hey, our Patreon Simplex members only screening falls on the 25th of June. We always like to cover it on the calendar review episodes because there might be people out there who have no idea that we have this ongoing Patreon that keeps you in the loop with all things Mahoning is working on or plotting and scheming, even throughout the off season. You get perks of the Patreon, but one of the biggest sells for the Patreoners in the Simplex tier is this on-site members-only screening. It's easily one of the greatest nights of the month every time. So if you guys are interested in that, patreon.com/Mahoning Drive-In. And then prepare to be eaten. That's right. Cannibal Apocalypse with Exhumed Films comes in for a landing on the 26th and 27th of June. Tell them what they're in for, Mark.
You are in for gut munching. Two nights of the goriest, grimmest 35 millimeter triple features ever to hit the Mahoning screen. Exhumed Films did this once before, years ago, before I was down, when I was simply a volunteer and a patron of the theater. So I never saw it the last time, and I'm a little nervous about seeing it this time. I have not seen all of these films, but I can tell you what the titles are. On the 26th, it is Make Them Die Slowly, which I believe is also known as Cannibal Ferox. Cannibals in the Streets, which is also known as Cannibal Apocalypse. That's the one with John Saxon and a bunch of soldiers. I don't remember if they're Vietnam or they're somewhere else, but they're soldiers who somehow resort to cannibalism in the jungle in combat during the war, and then they bring that culinary predilection back with them to the streets of New York. And then you have Anthropophagus, which is AKA the Grim Reaper. We have shown this before as part of another show, and it's this weird film set, I want to say on like a Greek island, where there's this bizarre sort of semi-undead guy who just munches on people. It is super grim. And then on this 27th Saturday, one of the most infamous films ever. This is a film I've never seen, and I've sort of personally vowed that I will never see it. This is Cannibal Holocaust. This is a film that once seen cannot be unseen. You have been warned. Followed by Man from Deep River and Dr. Butcher, MD. The MD stands for Medical Deviant. This is a film, the first time I went to the Mahoning, it was the last night of the final non-retro season. Some of you guys were there that I'm talking to right now. I remember Nancy was working the cash register that night. People were dressed up. It was like a Halloween show, end of the season. And it was a triple or quadruple feature. And one of the films was Dr. Butcher, MD. It's a film that was sort of an Italian cannibal film that I believe Jerry Gross in this country bought and then shot some new scenes for, like bookending scenes, and redubbed it and recut it a little bit. It's a lot of fun. It's grim, but it's not as grim as the other ones. It's a fun way to end the night. And boy, if you make it to the end of both nights of this, you have my respect and or dubious side eye. It's going to be who knows how many burgers will sell that weekend.
Yep, that's a hard one for the concession stand, that's for
Yep.
sure.
After a certain point, like maybe after the first movie, you're going to see those sales just plummet.
So I would like to point out that I'm gonna have to make slides for 2 nights. So as you mentioned, I've seen these, and I'm not looking. I'm gonna have to look a lot of pictures, like a lot. First of all, I'm kind of concerned about what my web search on that is probably.
You're screwed.
I have threatened that I'm just going to do cute puppies and kitties for all slides.
A nice palate cleanse for the audience.
But if you see me that weekend and I kind of have this 1,000-yard stare, it's because I completed that slide deck, and just give me a hug. Just tell me it'll be okay and give me a hug. That's all I ask.
Amazing. Shifting gears, as always, with a celebration of an absolute American icon for his 100th birthday. Mel Brooks's 100th birthday celebration with a 35 millimeter screening of Blazing Saddles. If you're easily offended, stay at home. This is one that plays like a dream. Talk about a laugh per minute. We really are highlighting some comedy gems throughout June. Where do you guys fall with Blazing Saddles? I mean, come on.
Bremen. I first saw it on TV. It was one of the movies that one of the Boston stations would show like once a year, and my father loved it, so we'd watch it every year and just laugh ourselves silly. And then eventually I was like, I want to see this again, but I don't want to wait for it to pop up on the local channel. I will rent this on tape. And boy, is it a different movie when you rent it on tape. There's a lot of words, a lot of scenes, a lot of things that aren't in there. Although the TV version had stuff that was cut out of the movie to pad out the running time for everything they had to cut out of the TV version of the film. So you got exclusive scenes in the TV version that I think eventually wound up on the DVD and the Blu-ray. It is an incredibly funny movie. Richard Pryor was one of the writers on the film. You've got Gene Wilder. Cleavon Little is amazing as this black sheriff who rides into a town full of white racists, and they all deal with it the way they deal with it. Some have called this a racist movie, and those people have no idea what they're talking about because this is an anti-racism film. It shows all the racists as being stupid and eventually learning that, hey, this guy's a person and he can help you maybe get over yourself. It's cartoony and fourth wall breaking and brilliant. And Mel Brooks did this and Young Frankenstein the same year. Arguably his two greatest movies he did within 12 months of each other, which is just insane. So would make a great double with The Searchers in a way, but it's a super fun movie. And if you've never seen it, oh my God, you have to come see this film on the big screen. It plays great with a crowd. And if you love it, you're going to see a lot of details you never notice watching it on TV on the big screen. And I can't say, I can go on forever about Blazing Saddles, but it's a great way to end the month. And it is a phenomenal palate cleanser after the grimness of the previous 2 nights.
Yes. Well timed.
This movie is never not funny. Like, I can watch this movie endlessly and it will never not be funny. I think I share that kind of I watched it with my dad kind of thing.
Very much.
Me too. Yep.
And I have never seen my dad laugh harder in my life than the campfire scene. Like, he just
Yes.
literally falling out of his chair laughing.
Now, when I saw that on TV, they had redubbed it. So all these guys are sitting up, are standing up, and all you hear them doing is going, the sounds that are the comedic element, the comedic core of that scene were not in the broadcast TV version. Because at the time that was too offensive. And I like, people always talked about the beans around the campfire scene, and I finally saw it. I'm like, what? They just stand up and they sound like they have, they're uncomfortable from sitting for so long.
So my dad isn't like a repeat movie watcher, okay? Like, he'll watch a movie and he'll enjoy a movie, but he doesn't like watch them over and over again because he's kind of like, well, I saw that. But he can watch Blazing Saddles. It's one of the few videos the man like owns because he loves it that much. So yeah, it's a classic.
Harumph.
Yeah, we're playing two of the greatest westerns of all time in June.
And I said we never show westerns.
That's right. That is one hell of a month. I will put that calendar up against any other calendar across the country. We like to keep it eclectic. We like to push the essentials. We like to have fun here at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater. Why don't you come and have some fun with us? Tickets available to all of these shows at mahoningdit.com, or you can follow us on the social medias to get all the inside skinny. Anything else for the peeps before we let them go on their merry way?
When a show is sold out, that means nobody else can get in.
Yes, we're talking about VHS Fest.
Any show that sells out, it always comes up, and it's always just like, we're not trying to be rude. It's just one of those things where we really need to impart the knowledge of when we say sold out, it means not one more person will be coming into that show.
Yeah, it's going to be a long, hard month as, our biggest event of the year is sold out, but that's what makes it a great event. I think having it be such a coveted ticket really builds that legend. So for those of you guys that were lucky enough, we'll see you in July at VHS Fest.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.
All right, and on that note, Jeff, take it away, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for coming out tonight to the Mahoning Drive-In Theater. We hope you'll come back and see us again real soon. The exit is on the right-hand side of the screen at the front of the field, and most importantly, have a very safe trip home. Good night, and God bless you.